Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Power Tips, and this week we're going to dig into, and at the end we will have dug into Power Automate 2024 Release Wave 2 features. So we've got quite a few items to roll through. So why don't I hand it over to you? I think Heidi, who's going to start us through.
Yeah, sounds good. So first thing I want to talk about is automating work in Excel Online. I'm going to press play on my little animation here because this one's in my Excel. If you go to Excel Online, there's a tab at the top that's been there that says Automate, but what's new is a little icon that says Automate Work, and it's got the Power Automate Flow icon that we know. And when I click that, it's going to launch all of the Flow templates available for the Excel Online connector. So as I'm in this Excel spreadsheet, I can select one of these templates and go, which is pretty cool. The other thing, I kind of bundled two of the release wave items in here, is that you, if you have the right proper permission levels in Power Automate, will also be able to create, view, and manage all of your Excel flows from that Automate tab inside of Excel. That I can't see yet, but I can see the ability to access pre-built templates. This is something that will work, allegedly, for both Mac and Windows devices. Yay for those of you using Apple stuff. And general availability is slotted for this month. As you can see, I have half of this already. I don't know if it's everywhere, but this one's coming soon. And I think this is pretty cool because, as we know, there are a lot of people still working in Excel. Have you guys noticed this yet, or do you have any thoughts?
I saw it at one of the community events. Somebody highlighted it as an upcoming feature, and I thought it was pretty cool then. But this is a little bit even more detail than they gave during that quick announcement. So this is pretty fascinating. To your point, lots of people still using Excel, so I think a valuable tool.
Cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to play with it. And that's creating desktop flows, right?
Oh, great question. Cloud flows. These are all cloud flows.
Interesting.
Yes. Good question. Other Cloudflow fun, you can create and edit expressions with Copilot in Cloudflows. It says in the release notes that public preview is November, but it didn't happen yet because there's no checkbox there, and I don't see this yet. But this is just bringing natural language inside of your work stream again. This one is specifically around creating your expressions or editing existing expressions. I love this because I don't know how to write expressions without looking at a resource. So again, public preview should be soon, and general availability will be March of 2025. I love this one. And finally, the Automation Center. This one has been in public preview for like the better part of this year, but it's slotted for general availability coming soon, next month in January. And if you haven't seen this yet, there's a screenshot from Microsoft what it looks like. And it's giving you a bunch of KPIs where you can monitor real-time performance for both your cloud flows and your desktop flows. They're not together. You'd have to switch and toggle between which type you want to check out. There's bullet points here that talk about everything. These are straight out of the release notes. It's going to show your top trends, like your successes and your failures across different time periods. You can understand what those top errors are. You can see the top flows with their specific errors. I mean, hopefully you have no errors in your flows, but if you do, you don't have to go to the individual flows and kind of dive in. There's a nice dashboard here. So again, this one's available now in public preview if you want to check it out, or you'll all get it next month. Those are my 3 items. Did you guys have anything you wanted to add or ask about any of them?
Oh, those are great.
Excellent. Kylie.
Cool. So one thing that I called out, so in terms of desktop flows, is you can now record with Copilot. So, desktop flows, I think a lot of people are still figuring them out and learning what that looks like, but now you can record with the help of AI to make that go smoothly. And that is currently in public preview, so make sure you check it out, and it should be generally available in March. And then I also wanted to call out a whole bunch of other Copilot enhancements that came up. So one of them is next best action. So as you're working on the flow, getting suggestions of what you should do next. And so that public should already be in public preview with general availability coming soon. You can also use Copilot to analyze the automation activity. So in the analyze stuff that Heidi showed, there's going to be the ability to use Copilot there to get some insights on your flow. Also that general availability coming next month. And We also have the ability to regenerate a variation of a flow with Copilot. This is supposed to be generally available this month. So the idea is you have a flow, you can generate a variation of it, and then you could compare performance. You could look at maybe how things are doing differently. And then we also have scripting coming with natural language. So similar to the item that Heidi was showing around my expression, I can be typing a prompt for a script I want to generate, and it will give me a script that I can use and test out and work with. And that should also be coming generally available this month. One I forgot to highlight too is we can also use Copilot to get the descriptions for our flows, I believe. So lots of exciting things happening in the Copilot space. Have you guys looked at any of these or questions on these guys?
I've been a big, oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Heidi. I've been a big fan of the next action thing. I literally have a thing at my desk. It says, what is the next action? And it's one of the things I hang on my computer so that as I'm working through all kinds of things, that's one of the things I'm prompted to think about just through old school, pen and paper. So I've always loved this notion of, hey, what is the next action? Because I think we get stalled a lot of times on projects, we as humans, because we don't think about, well, what do we got to do next? And if we just compartmentalize everything into little steps at a time, it makes things a lot easier. So I've always been a big fan. So I'm excited to see that one slated for GA.
I have two thoughts around the Copilot enhancements in Power Automate. One, it's my favorite place that I see Copilot. I feel like it's the most useful for me and how I am making assets in the Power Platform. I love it. But two, it's interesting how long some of these natural language ones are taking to come to fruition. Like that scripting one is over a year. Some of the other natural language ones we've seen are also like a year or more. That just tells me it's more important than ever for you to, yay, this is great, but let's not rely on this being absolute truth. Always, always, always test and verify what Copilot spits out.
Good call.
And so important to use your thumbs up and thumbs down on those items if they're working or not working, so it can continue to improve.
Train
Go ahead,
model. Yeah, so first call out the image. AI, speaking of all the great things of AI, they're still catching up on the whole how to create text in an image. So I used it to create this image just to give this sense of automation after or when a meeting starts, which is one of the features. So use workflows on calendar, events, and Teams and Outlook. Super vague. That's basically all it says, the title and a quick sentence. So there's not a lot of detail, but it does give it a quick example in the release notes, which you see in the second bullet point. You can configure a flow that is triggered to run at the start or end of a meeting. So that, to me, I'm sure people have come up with ways to do this in a variety of fashions already, but for it to be natively baked in is going to be pretty cool. I can see a variety of scenarios where, hey, that meeting just ended and we need to make sure that the summary notes are out to the participants, or somebody's notified that this meeting took place at a check-in, or this meeting happened, go ahead and schedule something else. So all kinds of, those are just quick off the top of my head examples. I'm sure there's other great ones out there. So excited to see that one, skipping preview and everything, just coming out sometime in December. Maybe it's already out, I'm not even sure, but was excited to see that one. Enable dark mode in Power Automate desktop. That's it. That's the feature.
People love dark mode.
They do, and that's why I put it in here. It is such a huge one. I know the debate. There's lots of people who, it's kind of to me like the Android Apple. People are like, no, I hate dark mode. No, I love it. I think more people love it than not. But it's a great feature to roll out, and it's a quick, easy setting to turn on, and all of a sudden everything's in dark mode, and you're good to go.
Okay, now we have to know, dark mode or not dark mode?
I find it depends on what I'm looking at. So, which is maybe a cop out of an answer, but that's my response.
How about you, Kylie?
I don't like dark mode. Don't tell anyone.
Okay, I also don't like dark mode.
It's too dark. Fair. I need the bright lights on my face.
So that's 2.5 for dark mode and 0.5 for light mode. Interesting. Or no, 2.5 against.
Reverse.
Yeah. All right. So, and then this last one, I think aligns, and it actually might even overlap. I didn't see it in the Copilot section. It was a different section, but same as, I think, very similar to what you were talking about, Kylie, this idea of using AI Recorder to build something out, and it can track verbal explanations of what's going on and your clicks on screen and everything to then go ahead and build out that desktop flow. So that to me is utterly fascinating. I hadn't heard of it, didn't know this was a thing. So I'm pretty intrigued by that. Would love to mess around with that. I threw in the geographic areas. Was surprised to see GCC and GCC High on there. Glad to see that, but there's sometimes some what I would call strange decisions about what is and isn't available in there. So glad to see this in there. Yeah, that's that feature. So I thought this one was cool. Looks like it's, again, I hadn't even heard of it. So it came out in September and GA isn't until March. And we'll see if that sticks because I feel like there's probably a lot going on behind the scenes to make this a reality. So we'll see if March is in fact realistic. Thoughts on those? Or not?
Exciting to see where Power Automate's going. I feel like this tech space changes so dang fast. So
Yeah, true story.
Cool.
Yeah, so many cool things, and I like to see how we have stuff happening in Outlook and Excel, and it's coming together with our Power Platform products, and just seeing how we had kind of all these separate co-pilots, but slowly, all of them none of us can talk today. All of them are coming together and working together, and we have Power Platform working with Office, and I think that's great to see.
Very cool.
So thanks everybody for joining us. Hopefully you've enjoyed these quick tips that we've given you from the release wave 2. As we get to the end of the year, I think we're going to have one more power tips where we talk about all of the fun things that we did this year. And we're going to then be back next year, and it will almost be time for more release wave content to be out. So let us know in the comments what you want to hear more about and your favorite features that you're seeing. Thanks.